I'm not here to waste your time with generic advice or motivational fluff. In this video, I'm breaking down how I went from an entry-level sales development rep to making six figures in tech sales. These are the real strategies I used, the stuff that actually works. To make six figures in tech sales, I had to shift my mentality from just showing up to deciding to operate like the CEO of my own business. When I first started in tech sales as an SDR, it was my first corporate job. So I think I showed up and didn't fully respect my results. I didn't have accountability to performance, and I didn't fully appreciate the need to win each and every day. So that first month, I was one of the worst performing SDRs, and I remember considering, well, hey, maybe sales isn't for me. So I got the advice from a senior leader, hey, if you think you're trying your best, you're probably at 70% effort. You really need to turn that knob and recognize there's not a plan B, there's not a safety net. We got to do whatever it takes to perform and give 100% effort each and every day. And that really made a big difference for me. So I stopped waiting for my manager to tell me what to do. And instead, I proactively designed a daily schedule that would allow me to do all of the inputs that would lead to my success. Pipeline generation, pipeline health, self-development, each and every day. It's not just hitting your activity metrics, it's finding ways to work smarter by focusing on high quality prospects, high quality accounts, because all the time you spend with low quality prospects cannot be spent finding and closing high quality opportunities. Because in my first 9 months of tech sales, I viewed making 100 cold calls a day as like, I won a trophy, cherry on top. It couldn't get any better. Looking back in hindsight, I think a lot of it was vanity metrics. I just made a lot of calls to make a lot of calls to prove, I don't care if I get rejected. It did help me learn a lot, but I've realized that it's actually very important to work smarter and not just harder, because in tech sales, you're not measured on how many hours you work. You're measured on your output, how much revenue you generate, how much pipeline you generate, and it actually doesn't matter how long you work. So it's really important to recognize that you gain more leverage by working bigger deals with better fit prospects. Would you rather close 5 20K deals to get to 100K in revenue or 20 5K deals? It's going to take you way longer to close 20 5K deals than it will to close 5 20K deals. So if you reverse engineer, well, what is your best path to quota? Your quota is 100K. Maybe it's 4 25K deals. Maybe it's 3 30K deals and then 2 5K deals. Maybe it's just one 100K deal. How can you get the most leverage on your time? And it's by working with the biggest and the best accounts, the prospects who are most capable of buying and spend the most money with you. The next strategy I used was overcoming self-limiting beliefs on outbound prospecting. I think in the beginning of my tech sales career, when I was in the office around other SDRs, I was very aware that other people were listening to me. I would compare myself to other people's performance. And maybe some days I just wouldn't try my best because I thought, do I really want to be top of the leaderboard and just make way more calls than everyone else again today? And I think that it made me feel a little self-conscious. I remember walking into a team meeting the first time, being the top performing rep, and I almost felt like I didn't belong. I felt like people were looking at me different. And at first it was awkward, but then I changed my mentality to view, I expect me to maximize my own potential, and that looks like showing up as my best self. And more oftentimes than not, that's going to result in being one of the top performers on the team. So overcoming the self-limiting beliefs, maybe that looks like, hey, you deserve success. What does it look like to deserve success? It looks like putting in a ridiculous amount of outbound prospecting activity and emotionally disconnecting from the results and obsessing over the process. And that's why I made 100 cold calls a day for months, almost a year straight. I've made over 80,000 outbound cold calls in my 6 or so year software sales career. And by just obsessing over input, it has led me to expect I'm paid to be told no. I need to seek out no. Each no gets me closer to yes. Sales is a contact sport, and that's just par with the course. So I'm not too worried about the bad things that can happen because that's inevitable. The next strategy is strenuous physical activity outside the office. My highest income earning years are actually correlated with having a physical fitness goal outside the office. That first 300K year, it was because I had a marathon on my calendar in December. So I was aggressively training in the mornings. I'd go into the office just dialed because I had just run 8 miles that morning, and I had this bigger goal outside the office. And that's why this year I'm signed up for an ultra marathon. I think that's the first time I've shared this on the channel. I'm not just running a marathon in February. I'm now signed up and I plan to run an ultra marathon in June of this year. And by having this strenuous physical activity, a bigger goal outside the office, I think it allows me to perform better in the office. And the final strategy, which is a bit rah-rah, but it's simply just to show up each and every day, because you can afford to lose one day. And by lose a day, I mean, maybe you don't put in the inputs you need and you're just not producing, and that's okay. You don't always see progress every day, but you simply cannot string together multiple lost days, because that will add up to losing weeks, to losing months, to losing quarters, to missing quotas, and then you lose momentum. Sales is a momentum game, so we must show up, put in the best work we can, and continuously build, and then it only takes one. So by showing up every single day, you eventually create luck, right? Preparation meets opportunity. You're constantly showing up, then eventually that right prospect answers, you set the meeting, and then you're able to close that deal and get 20% over quota further than you otherwise would have if you just never prospected that day. So it's very important to show up each and every day no matter what. To hit 6 figures, you need to do 4 things. Think like a business owner, a CEO of your own business, not just an SDR. Overcome self-limiting beliefs with outbound prospecting, strenuous physical activity outside the office, and show up each and every day. If this video gave you real actionable advice, hit the thumbs up button now and subscribe to the channel. And if you're looking to break into tech sales, check out the Course Careers Tech Sales course linked in the description below. Talk to you next time.